Fine. So I have shared this file. I have shared the Power BI file, and also the recording also is getting shared, right? And the data, right? Data is also shared. So you will be able to use the data. Just give me a minute.
Hi, I guess you're on mute.
I think you're on mute.
Yeah, please 1 second, just a second. Yeah, give me a second. I will just rejoin. Okay, sorry guys, I was important call. Okay, so we started with the data cleaning, right? We started with the data cleaning, and we already knew that these are the three views, right? And this is the heart of the Power BI, where we do all of the calculations, right? Everything, all of the transformations we'll be doing here, and the DAX, whatever DAX will be created, that will be created in the reporting page. Okay, not here, but the reporting or modeling page, the DAXes will be created, but all of the transformations you are seeing, all of the options you are seeing here, all of the tools, you can see there are a lot of tools, right? And all these activities will be happening here in this Power Query Editor. This is called Power Query Editor. Okay, and from basic to advanced activities, all the activities are available, and we will see each and every of these options one by one. Okay, bit by bit. So once we have included the data into Power BI, right, into Power BI model, we have to clean the data if the data is not cleaned, right? If there is some junk data, right? So in that case, we have to clean the data. Can you point out here with this data set, like what are the different, issues we have with this data set? By seeing, just by looking at this data set, do you, can you point out the issues?
You've got some rows that don't have
Blank
no
row.
data in them.
Yeah.
Right.
Some rows missing data, there's no values. Okay. Apart from that, this is unique column. You can see the name, right? Naming convention, order ID. This is unique column. And we are seeing duplicate data, right? Apart from that, these IDs, any values. So there are these columns you can see that we have, and this is like Excel. Okay, I think I told this before also, that Power BI gets its power from Excel only. Okay, the Excel like things are the DAX, the UI, right? Here everything. This is similar as Excel, right? You can see that we can use this filter like option from Excel, right? Here you can see the data, right? We have only junk data in this column 3, right? That means this is not required. This is not adding any value to the business, right? So similarly, we have many other issues with the data. Okay, so we are going to fix all of these issues one by one. These are the issues. Here we are trying to learn the tool. Okay, that's why these are the issues. We have the data with issues. We have created this junk data. Fine. When you will be working in a real project, right? So all of these issues will not be there. And also the data set will have millions of rows, maybe. Okay, so you will have lot of data there. Here we are just trying to learn all of these tools and what are the data issues maybe there, right? All of the data issues we are going to fix. Fine. So we'll learn this, right? The very first thing is we want to remove all the blank rows. Means these rows should not have any data. You can see there is no data at all in the rows. Okay, so we are going to remove all the blank rows. So here you have the tool under the home ribbon called remove rows, right? This is the tool called remove rows, and under this you can see there are a lot of options. Remove top rows, remove bottom rows, okay, remove alternate rows like 1, 3rd, 5th, right? Remove duplicates. You have any The entire row is duplicate, right? In that case, you can remove errors. If you have some errors, you can remove that errors also. So here we want to remove first, we remove blank rows, right? So we are just going to remove blank rows, and this is so easy, right? That just one click and all the blank rows are gone. So you can see that if the entire row is blank, then you can easily remove using this blank rows, right? Here even you have the opposite tool called keep rows, right? If you want to keep some of the rows and remove all of the other rows, right? So you can do that also, fine? You can do even that. So yeah, that's okay. Now the next thing we want to see is here, this is unique data, order ID, and this entire data set is the orders data, orders information, right? Orders of different product, fine. So it should not have any NA value, right? It should not have any NA value because these all are orders. This should have a proper order. So here you can see that this NA is again a made up value, and those two rows are only having NA data, right? We want to, we have to remove that from the data set. We have to remove the entire row, and we can see even another, you can check the NA values just by filtering from here, just checking here. You want to check what are the, how many different rows are there. You can even check like that. Okay, there are only two different rows. And at the same time, you can see, this side, the right hand side, applied steps, right? For each and every activities, whatever you are performing, a new steps, a new step is getting created, added up here, right? So we can see that once we filtered out from here, there is another step, filtered rows. We can remove these from here, and we can go back to the previous step. Even we can go back directly to the previous step from here without removing that, right? And if you want to add another steps between this and this, right, you can go back and add another steps which will impact the next step, means this step, right? If you are adding anything, modifying anything in the previous steps, right? So yeah, just remember this. Now what we want to do, we don't want to have these NA values. We want to remove these NA values, right? We want to remove these NA values. So the way we can remove is just go and search for NA, remove this NA, remove the checkbox, right? Uh, Uncheck it, and you can have all the values without NA. All the NA values getting filtered, right here. You can see that NA values got filtered. You have another way, right here. You can see the text filter. Fine. NA was a text, when NA was a text, and we have the text filter for all these things. So here you have the text filter, advanced filter, and this is similar like the Excel again, right? You will be easily able to use this. So text filter, and you have equals if you want to just keep it, right? It does not equal if you don't want to keep it. So all of these options you will be able to utilize. Contains, does not contain. So all for the text filters, text informations, to filter out any text information. So you will be able to use this also. And here it was very basic things. So we just uncheck that particular value, and it is filtered out, right? We just have unchecked it, and it is gone. Fine. So yeah, this is what we just have filtered out a row. Now the issue next issue, the other issues we are seeing here is, here you can see the duplicate, order ID, duplicate order ID, and with that duplicate order ID, you can see the entire row. So you have to also, before taking any action, right, before remove, at least, at least while you are doing some cleaning activities like removing some data information, removing some information from the data set, before removing, you must have to verify the data, whether this is a data issue, whether this is, the order numbers are incorrect, and the data, we have the valid data, we just need to update the order number, order ID, right? Or we have actual duplicate information here. So before taking any action, mainly before removing anything, right, from any of the data set, wherever it is may be from, right, it may be from. So you should always recheck, validate the data, and then you should take action. So here in this case, this is the data, we have duplicate information, right? And here you can see we need to remove the entire row is a duplicate, so we have to remove the duplicate information, right? We should also only have the unique value, unique information. Okay. So the duplicate rows can be removed using the remove rows. Here you can see the remove duplicates, and it will remove all the duplicate information. Okay. So now you can see all the duplicate information are gone. Okay. There's no duplicate rows. Right? There's no duplicate rows. Now, the next thing you want to do is, you can see here the column 3, right? Uh, okay. You should also understand one thing, that what are these code? Here we have the strip, right? We have the strip and we have color, right? So what is this color signifies? What does this color signify? Okay. So you can see the green color, that means you don't have any empty cell. If entire, strip is green for a column, right? That means there is no empty cell. Okay, 100% valid valid data is there. Okay. The next thing here, you can see product ID. You have black strip here and green. So this black, right, it is telling that there are some empty cell. Okay, there are some empty cell, and you can see here one column, one value in this entire column. In this entire column, there's one record which is having empty cell, empty value. Fine. So this is telling us the empty, and it is giving also the percentage of values, right? Percentage of valid data, empty data, or error. Okay, if we have some error in the data set, right, we will also get the error information. So just by looking at the header, right, just by looking at the header, this strip, you will be able to know that whether your data set is correct, whether how your data set, is whether the data set having some issues, errors, and all. So you can identify that just by looking at the header. Okay. And you have another tool, right, which will give more information on the quality of the data. Right. These are showing the quality only, right? This is all of these are showing the quality of the data. You have another tool under the view, right, which will give more information on this, and we'll see each of these tools one by one. Okay. You can see here you can check the quality of the information, even here, right? Column quality, and it can be shown here when displayed here. So we don't want to do it now. We just want to first do the cleaning activities, basic cleaning activities. Now, looking at this column 3, you can see that just 4 valid information is there and 996, 99% empty cells are there. So we can now verify before removing this, we should verify whether the 4 information, whatever we have, 4 cells we have, right? The 4 valid data we have, whether that is a valid, actually, you know, valuable data for the business or not. We just need to check that also. So you can see that this is not a correct data, so we can remove it. If we had a correct information, something which is value to the business, right? We could rethink on removing this column. Okay. So yeah, we have to, and you should also know that each and every column or every value take some space. Every value takes some space as we are using in-memory capability. With different license, we have restriction on the model building, right? With the Pro license, we have only we will be storing only 1 GB of model size data, and with other license, we can increase. We can have more information, right? So yeah, for now, you should understand that you will be able to understand, we'll be able to check the quality of the data just by looking at the header. And now we want to remove this because this is of no value, no use to the business, right? So we can just remove it either from home, or you can also do one thing. You can also right click on the column, okay? Right click on the column and you can remove the column. You can see that there are options where you will be able to remove the column, remove other column, right? Duplicate column, right? You can create the column and create a duplicate of this, right? So remove this column, you can do directly from here, or you can go to this remove tool, right? Remove columns tool, remove columns and remove other columns. The same option you
I have a
were
question,
getting,
please.
okay? So you are getting the same option here also. Fine. So you can right click and remove the column. That's, and this is so easy.
I have a question, please.
Yeah, please.
Can you remove a data without removing the role? Can you remove multiple data without having to delete the entire role?
Can we remove multiple data from, so suppose we
So
want to
from a
just,
column, so you have a column now, right? And then
correct?
say the NA, you want to take that out without having to take the entire row. Deleting. Yeah, can you take that off? If you have multiple NAs and you just want to take that off.
Yeah. We'll see
Can you
that. We'll
take
see
it off?
that. We will see that.
Okay.
We are having that also. Okay. So you want to just replace some values. Suppose you have issues, means where you have, valid data for all of the column, but you have for one column, you have invalid data, and you want to remove that data only some part for the particular cell, right? And you don't want to touch, you don't want to remove the entire row or the column, but you just want to remove that particular data value only, right? Like that. So that is your question,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see that. We
Yeah.
have all of that we have here. Okay. All of those cleaning activities we have here, and we are going to that one by one. And we have that scenario also. Okay. So yeah. Now we just had entire row and entire column. We just remove. So these tools will give you capability to remove the entire row and the entire column either you can choose a column, okay, or you can remove a column. You can keep the rows or you can remove the rows, right? This is for entire data set, right? And now by seeing at these column headers, the quality, data quality, right? You are able to find here that there is one empty row. There's one empty row, one empty cell here in this column, one empty cell here in this column, also one empty cell here in this column, and everything else is correct. But here you have 100% data, valid data. So let's see, and you are able to see with this data set that there is one empty row for all of the column. Okay, one empty row for all of the column, and that may be something which is having empty data and only having the order ID. So we want to check that also, that there is a blank, there are two blank information here. So let's see the blank and any value. So what those columns have, okay, in the product ID. Okay, so there are two different, row which is not correct. Just it is just having the order ID, and it is just having the order ID 26 and 28, but there is no valid data available for that. Okay, NA and blank. So we can just utilize the filter method to do that, right? We can utilize the filter method to do that, to remove all of those data, right? So you can just go here and remove this data set from here, and it will remove the entire all of those data. Now you can see that you have 100% of valid data, right? You have 100% of valid data. You have sales information, you have date information, right? You have revenue information, stock information here, prices, right? And all of those. This is again some of the column, right? Here you can see that promo bin 2 and promo discount 2 is are columns, right? And this is entirely blank, right? This promo bin 2 is entirely blank and this is not having any data, right? So we should remove this. We should remove this column. We have also this promo discount 2 and it looks like all of the values are NA. Let me just check. Okay, this entire column is NA. So we can remove the column, right? So these the columns are removed, the empty values are removed, right? So all of those are done. You can also see now there is another column called promo bin 1. Most of the data 992, 922, okay, these rows, these many cells are empty. 92% of the data is empty. There's no data. There's 92% empty cells, right? Blank values, and only 8% we have data. Fine. We have to check whether this data is of some value or not. So we can see this look like a valid data, right? And we should not, in that case, we should not remove the column. In that case, we should not remove the column, right? So this is the removing and having the column and rows and all those things. Next thing we can check is the naming convention. We have the names, right? You can rename all of these columns. You can rename all of these columns, right? Like here, promo bin 1, you may want to give the init cap values. So you can just double click, right? And change the value, name, right? You can change the names and all of these kind of activities you will be able to perform. Okay. So promo bin. So like that, you can just change the names. Fine. So for all of the columns, you will be able to change it. And let's see for the columns only. Also, what you will be able to do, unlike Excel, you can rearrange your columns. Rearrange your columns wherever you want to keep it. You may want to group the columns together, right? You can rearrange the column and uh, like, okay, this prices, you may want to bring it near to revenue. So you can just rearrange it, reorder it. You can see. So anywhere you want to place, right? You can place the column anywhere. Right? You want to promo type, you want to bring it near to sales information maybe. So you can just remove, you can bring it there. Fine. So these are very intuitive activities which is readily available, and you will be able to perform such activities for arranging your data set, arranging the and also doing the basic activities. Fine. Now let's see. We want to visualize this data. We have almost removed all the empty data. We have also, removed junk information, right? We want to visualize this data. We want to visualize this revenue information or stock information, right? Based on different product or based on the date, okay, or based on store ID. Yeah, do you have any question?
Hi, I have a quick question on the removing duplicate rows.
Huh.
So when we remove the duplicate rows, does it check by itself if all the data in that particular row is duplicate or not?
Yes, it checks all the data. When we do duplicate row, it checks all the data. Okay,
Okay.
because we are doing removing duplicate rows. Okay, in that case, it will check all the data. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have this remove remove duplicates. Okay, if you just have a column, right, and removing a duplicate, so in that case, it will just based on the column itself, it will just do it. Okay, suppose I am just removing the duplicate from this column, okay,
Mhm.
or from sales. Maybe I am just removing the duplicate from this and remove duplicate. So you can see all of these only considering this column, all of the duplicate are removed. It is not
Right.
considering the entire row. Okay, it is not considering the entire row, but only this column. Whatever duplicate information is there in this column, all of those are removed. You can see, right? Everything is unique. So if you want to, suppose you have the data set and you have a primary key information or some unique value information, right? And you want to remove based on this column only. And you know that this should not be duplicate, right? You want to remove based on this column. So you can just consider this and remove the information, remove duplicates. Right. But if you don't know, okay, what should be removed, so for you can check the entire row and remove the duplicates using the remove rows. Okay, fine. So now what we want to do is we want to yeah, please. You want to say something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, fine. Okay, so we what now as we have just cleaned, done some basic activities, we want to visualize our data. We want to visualize the revenue. Okay, in reporting tool, right? So we have to apply our changes. We have to close and apply the changes. This is a different tool, right? This is a Power Query Editor. Within this Power BI itself, right? Power BI engine. This is and that tool is using Excel, that the engines from Microsoft, whatever Excel is using, and the powerful tools are using, right? And it is even more powerful here. The Power BI is more powerful than those other tools because all of those capabilities are included, and also the capabilities are enhanced, right? So here now we have made the changes in Power Query Editor, and those changes are reflecting here in this data set. Fine. And we will be also able to check that in this data view. Okay, that these are the columns, and those are columns are removed, right? We have just one column here, okay, which is okay, having data. Fine, this is correct, great. And we have the other values, right, are also available. So this data is almost clean, right? Almost clean. And we have done the activities, cleaning activities we have done. Now we want to visualize the, uh, uh, so you should know that this data view is just, for you to help, okay? To look at the data and understand the data, right? You will not be able to do anything else with this data. Okay, this is a view of the data, underlying data. This is a view of the the raw data, whatever you will be having. And this data we are going to uh, create a visualization using that data only, right? That's why whenever you may have some doubt on your data, or whenever you want to check something on the data, you can come to the data view, and you can check all of these things. You can check the columns, and you can check the whether you have some issues or something like that, you may check here also. Fine. So yeah, we have this data now. We want to visualize this. We want to visualize the data, and here we have the visualization tools. Right? We have the visualization tools, and we will see each and every tool. Okay, whatever we have here. Right? We'll also see these filters, how can we apply the filters and all these things, and we'll see the various techniques here, in each session, right? So for now, we want to we want to visualize this revenue, we want to visualize the revenue, and we want to check it. Fine. So let's take the stake column or any clustered column chart. We just want to visualize the revenue here, and you can see then we have to put in on the y-axis the revenue. Fine. And you can see this is the revenue information. We want to see this revenue information based on the some other category, okay? Based on maybe product ID or based on the order date. Okay, let's see, we want to have this order date on the x-axis. Fine. So what we wanted to see and what we are seeing. So what we wanted to see, we wanted to see the revenue. We want to check the revenue, but what we are seeing here, count of revenue. Okay, this is not the total of revenue. Revenue is the dollar value, right? And here we are seeing the numbers, how many transactions have happened on that day, right? We wanted to also check the data based on year, right? But we are seeing here the data based on each date, which is not correct, right? So let's see some property of this data also. Like here we have on the y-axis count of revenue, whether we will be able to change this to summation or something like that. So if you just click on the down arrow right here, chevron, we don't have any option to change it to summation or some other value. We just have the count and count district information. So the aggregation method we'll be using here only the count and count district. And this is because we don't have the data type properly set. So now this data is of the text or string data type. We should have all of our data type properly set. Then this tool will automatically detect every data type and the related, aggregation method, the related options it will enable. So based on the data, whatever we have, whatever we are choosing here, this will enable the different options. So this is so intuitive and intelligent. So in other tools, we don't have these options, right? That just by looking at the data, it will just give only those options which is available for that data, that particular data set, right? But here in Power BI, you are getting only those related information, related tools, related functionalities, which will be applied on this data. Fine. Now this revenue is of string data type, text data type. That's why we have only this count and count distinct capability. So before we use our data, before we use this analytics pane, right, this reporting tool, right, the visualizations, we have to properly set our data types. We have to properly set everything. Fine. So you will be able to set the data type either from this transform data. Okay, you can go to the Power Query editor, and inside that you have these options to change the data set. Here you can see at the corner ABC, right? This signifies that this is a text data type, and you can see for all of the columns, these are ABC. That means all of the columns are text belonging to the text data type, right? So just click on this and you will see that we will be able to change all of the data type to its correct data type. So this order ID, this is a key column, right? This is a key column. Order ID is a key column, and we are not going to create any we are not going to sum it up, we are not going to use it for summation or something like that, right? We only use it, either we can use it for count or we can just use it for connection between other between this and other tools, right? Between these and other tables. Okay, these are the things we can try, right? So here, that's why you can see that this order ID, right? We can keep it as a number type also, or we can keep it as a string type. So, do you know what is the benefit of having the data type as string or and the numeric type? If we make this column as a numeric type, right, this will save us a lot of space. You should know that uh, each string character, it takes 2 byte, and the numeric value, it takes 1 byte, right? It will save us a lot of space if we make this as number type, right? And we have to make it as whole number because this is a key value, order ID. We can make it as whole number, or even you can keep it a string, because this is not that this is only this is we are not going to use it for aggregation. We can just use it for count or distinct count, only this, or for relationship creation. So we can keep it as a string type also. Fine. But making it as a number type will save us more space. Once it is a number type, you should also take care of this while you are using it in the visualization, because if it is a number type, it will be aggregated, and key column should not get aggregated, right? It can be only used as a count, okay, or unique values use. Okay, now you can see the number type will be shown like displayed like this, 1 to 3. Fine. So this is we have just changed this number type. Similarly, you can change all of the data type. Right here, this is now same numeric. This is the string type, text type. So we'll keep it as it is. Right. Store ID is also string type. We'll keep it as it is. Right. And yeah. So this will remain same. Now this is a order date. So this should be a date type, right? So we can keep it as a date. We'll keep it as a date type. So this is it. And also, before changing it, just see here the data format, order date two. The data format you just see here. This is 2nd Jan 17. First is the date, then you have month, then you have the year. And here the year format is of 2-digit. Here we have the year format of 4-digit, right? Also the month is in number, right? The data format is also different. Fine. So now let's see when we change this date format to date, right? It is now 2nd Jan, right? 2017. Fine. Similarly, if we change this date, and let's see that it is also changing to the same format, right? All of these are brought to same format. Fine. This is all done by Power BI. It is intelligently identifying all of the data set and the input date format. It is identifying the input date and it is changing it to the other date, right? It is changing it to the desired date format. Fine. Now you can see this date format is of India date format, 2nd Jan 2017. And what is the US date format? US date format will be like, okay, first month, then first it will be the month, then date, then year, or even year, month, and date, right? Like that, you have the other date format. For different different places, you have different date format, right? So it gets automatically changed. Fine. And the input date format, how it is identifying the input dates and all, it is based on the local we have set here, right? Based on the local options, we have set the language we have set. Based on that, it is getting the input data and identifying it. Now, let's see, this is a cells, right? And this is numeric, but this should be only column. This should be only numeric data. But we are seeing that apart from cells, number values, right? We have also the, the cells in text, right? And this cannot be changed to numeric data type. Now, if you want to change to numeric data type, right, it cannot be changed to numeric data type. It will give us error, fine, because it is having only also text information. Yeah. So we will see this later. This revenue it should be the revenue is new dollar value, right? So we can keep it as decimal number or fixed decimal number. For all the dollar values, we mostly use the fixed decimal number. It will give you the data till 2 decimal number. So if you need more precision, right, on your data, or you need more decimal number values, like 4 decimal values, right, because you have the small transactions, very, very small transactions. In that case, you can go for only the decimal value. In this case, in the current scenario, revenue, we can go for the this fixed decimal number. And you can see all of these are changing to two decimal values. Fine. Similarly, we have stocks, and stock will be always whole number. Right? We have these prices, and prices, we can make it the fixed decimal number, right? Fixed decimal value. We have all of these, right? Promo type, and these promo bin, promo type 2. Fine. So these are okay. Promo type 2, delivery date. Now these should be all of these should be text information, and this is now date format. Let's see, this is a date format, and this is a date format. This is a date format. Fine. So now we have some more issues, okay, in this data set, but still these issues are not reflecting, okay, because these are getting processed, right? Behind the scene, these will get processed. All of the data set, whatever is chosen here, right? Let me also go back and change. I think this one I did the date time. So I just need to make it data type. Okay. Do you have any question till now? Okay. Now behind the scene, we have some issues. Okay. We have some issues, and it will pop up when we try to close it. Okay. When we apply the changes and when we try to close it, these are all processed, right? These are all processed in the engine, right? All of the data getting processed. So let's see. We want to just close and apply. And now you are seeing some errors. Okay. Though we were not able to see that error, directly in the tool, right? But we had some error. Now let's check it again. And still okay. We have error in the delivery date format too. Okay. So what is the error? Okay. What is the error? We can go back. We can go down to this and check, right? The values where we have the error. Okay. And here you can see the error values. Fine. You can also check the error information just by clicking it. Right. You can see that this is the error, right? And what is the error here? It says data format dot error. We could not pass the input provided as date value. So date value was provided like this: 15/1/2017. This was the date value provided. Fine. This was the date value provided, and it was expecting something else. Maybe the input provided was not identified, right? So it was expecting some other value, some other date format. So what was the date format it was expecting? It was expecting the US date format because we have set the local as US. Fine. And in the all other cases, we already had the date format as US date format. In this case also, we have the date format month, then the date, then year. Here we have the January name. Okay, that's why it is identifying as the US date format. Fine. We did not have the number. If we had the number, and here this date, first is the date, then we had the number, it could have been also identified as the different date. Input could not have been identified properly, right? Here we have the this one, and other than that, right, we can now see that we have the issues here in this date format. And change type. Okay, why all of this got changed? Okay, so all of these are changed. Okay, we need to change the data type here. Delivery data type, we have to change the data type in this case. So we can also, here the gear icon is not available because we will not be able to change it. So what we want to do is we want to first change this data type to proper data type. So now we'll see another way to do the to change the data type. This is you can just change the data type as fixed whole number. Also, what you can do, you can select as many columns you want, and you want to give the same data type, right? You can select the first one and press the shift button and select any number of column. Okay, now you will be able to set the data type for all of these to one. Okay, change data type here. From here you can see change type, and you can go to this place and change the data type for all of these together, right? We don't want to change the data type for this, we want to change the data type for these two, right? And these two are changed to date type, right? So these are changed to date type. And similarly, you have this revenue, right? This revenue and this price, this should be also same, right? Both of these will be changed to the same fixed decimal number. This will be changed to the whole number. And apart from that, you have these now we had the issue on this date. We have this date format, and we can just change it directly, and this is correct, right? This is fine. We had issues with this date format, right? First is date, then is month, then is year, right? We had issues with this date format. So to change this, right, what we have to first check what was the issue. That issue was the input date. So input date means the locale was not properly identified. So we can check like for which country we have this input format, right? The first is date, then month, then year. This is also India date format, India local, right? We can go and go using local. We can change the local to identify the input value. You can go to this input using local, right? Now you can see that, okay, this is now, you know, this is now identified as the India local, and we have to go to date, and you can see that this is identified as India value, right? This is India. First is date, then month, then year. We can also change it to some other values, maybe English, US, United States, right? Or something like that. So it depends on the input value, whatever you have there. Okay, it depends on all of those. So you can make the changes to United Kingdom or United States or United Emirates, like whatever data you want to make it to, right? And you can check here that whether this is correct or not. We can go to this and let's see whether we have any issues in this date. Okay, this input date format. So it should be now, okay, should be correct. Let's see. Close it, close and apply from here. Okay, still the value error is there. So we need to check what is this issue. We just have removed this data. Okay, now you can see that this data is there, but still the issues are there, and we had created a issue data. Okay, this data all are issues. We have issues with all of this data. So because of this data, this is the issue data, right? And we want to check this kept errors. All of the errors are kept, right, on this data set. So we row number these are error data. and these are the also we have some issues with the other date form with the other information. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's go to this, and I think all of this data is removed from here. Okay, all of this data is removed from here, and let's see where do we have the error. Okay. We have an error on this price column. Okay, so now the date column error is fixed. Date column error is fixed, right? When we have used the local, right? You have to also you have to understand that in which case we can use the local in the date format and all. So these issues pop up, right? Most of the time these issues pop up, right? And it depends on the originating places from where the file is originated, right? And the data format is applied based on that, right? So it depends on that. Now the file we are processing here, so this format got changed. It is getting changed, and based on this, based on those, we have to take proper action. Here you can see price, right? On this price, we have some issues, and almost 18 errors we have, right? Let's see whether we are able to see the error values. So we are not going able to see here this error values. Let go down and check the errors. So this is you will be able to see the error. Okay, this is the error, right? You can just click on this error and you can see that there is some issue with the error value, right? So you had a question whether you can replace a particular value from a column, not the entire, you're not removing the entire row or entire column, right? So this is the scenario where we have to take that action, right? We have to just act on that particular value, not on the entire row or entire column. Fine. So now this price, right? We have to remove these errors. We have to remove this error, right? So how can we sort this out? How can we remove this error? Fine. So there are many options we have here. There's one option, right? There's an option called replace values. But let's replace that value. Let's replace the error value, okay, error values or any values from here. Okay. Suppose the underlying value is, underlying value is the error, underlying value is the NA, but now after this we are getting the error value, okay, error on the cell. Here you can see that we are getting the error on the cell, right? Error on this cell. We have the error value. Fine. So suppose we want to just replace this value with other value. So let's see the different tool capabilities, whether we will be able to use it using this replace tool, replace values. So what it says, this replace value says, replace existing values in the current selected columns with the specified new value. So existing value means underlying value. Let's see whether we will be able to use the replace the error. Let's check uh, uh, whether we want to replace the error, but it is not replacing the error because this column is a numeric type column and it is expecting a numeric value, right? And that's why it is you are seeing here there's an enter a numeric number value. So we cannot change remove the error from here, right? We cannot remove the error. That means we have to remove the underlying data, underlying values, right? That is NA values. That is one option, right? To remove this error, to replace this error. Okay. Or we have another, option from here, right? From transform. we have another option called replace values, right? This is here we have a tool under transform ribbon, right? And under this tool we have under this ribbon we have this tool called replace values, and we can replace errors or we can replace underlying values. So let's see if we replace underlying values whether it is giving us the option or not. Underlying values means error we want to replace and it is not replacing the underlying values, right? So we have to check the other option called replace error, right? We can just go for the replace error. Now you can see that replace all the replace error value will be replaced with another value called 0.00 or something like that, right? All the values, all the errors are replaced, right? All the errors are replaced. So this is or what you can do, you can go back, and go to the underlying data set. Like earlier I was telling, right, that you can make the changes, you can make changes to the before step, right? We have made changes to this step. We want to make changes to this step, and before making change to data type. Before making change to data type for price, we want to replace the underlying values. So go to the renamed columns, and replace the underlying values. Okay, replace these underlying values from here, and that is what that is the NA value, right? That is the NA value you want to replace. Let's go and replace the NA with just anything, okay, with just empty value, right? So blank value. So just it has replaced the NA value from this step, right? And now even if you are not doing anything, right, no changes, so it will not show any error. It will just give empty values. Here you can see it's empty data, right? So yeah, we have till this we'll just end the session here today, okay, and we'll see the other options, other basic operations, right, on this data set, right, and also do the visualization on this data set. Now you have all of this data set created, and the data is now better. So we can change this revenue to, and now you can see we are seeing all of the options, right? All of the aggregated aggregation options, and this is revenue. So we have to sum it up. The revenue we have to sum it up, and now we are getting more information. Now also this on this date, right? Date is also getting properly updated. Now we are getting more options on the date, order date, and date hierarchy. So you can also now check the information. We can also see the data on monthly basis, quarterly basis, and yearly basis, right? So you will see these options, right? All of these one by one going forward also. So that's what we have for today's session. Do you have any question? Any question? Okay, then yeah, we'll meet then tomorrow. Okay, that's all we have for today's session. Yeah, and all of the you can go to this, and also please share your valid ID. Okay, so here the email ID, I have already shared the data set here. Okay, this is the data set we are using. Fine, and this is the first now current data, and also I'll keep on adding the data set here while we work, and also I am here adding the PBI file. Okay, so you will be working and download this data and work on these the same steps you will be able to recreate. Fine. So yeah, fine. That's all I have for today's session, and we'll meet then tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.